Good morning, everybody. This is Christy. I am the Intimate Warrior. I thank you so much for stopping by. And as always, I send you love. I'm doing my hardest. I am doing my best to not cry, to not lose it right now. But I know I'm going to. So last night I was here, excuse me, I was doing some nightly research like I always do, and I took a slight little break and a little notification came up on my screen. And I was like, wow, okay, I am going to do some research here. Yesterday afternoon, sorry for saying, trying to really catch myself on that. Around 4, I created some stillness. I wanted to just go within. And so I ended up seeing a Bible page. Gosh. And it was scrolling. Scrolls, when I am shown scrolling, it is because I am receiving a scroll, or a scroll is being given. And the Bible is the Word, and the Word is the seed, and of course, the seed and the Word is God. I mentioned that in one of my other videos. Also, in a previous video, and I'm trying to go back and look as I make this a video, so please excuse me. The Diamond Sacred Heart upgrade, the Amaria Flame, and I believe I also mentioned it in... It might have been only in that one. I don't recall. I know it was after I experienced my death. I think in that video, I think I mentioned I felt my heart kind of explode in one of those videos. So if you remember me saying that, keep listening. So last night, I ended up, after that notification, did my research. And I was like, you've got to be kidding. This is beautiful. This is connecting more things. And as I sat here, I was like, God, please give me a confirmation that this is exactly what I'm supposed to be guided towards, that this information is what is actually taking place. And of course, I knew, but I like to play games sometimes. And I ended up getting notifications on Facebook, so I hopped on Facebook, and the first thing that popped up on my feed was someone's post that said, there is hope. There's still hope within this world. And I ended up responding with, there's always hope. And of course, I could have gotten a little more deeper, but I left it at that. Hope is always discovered from within. It's a light. It is that seed that is always within us. When that light, that seed dies out, so does life. It's important for us to always hold on to hope. So today is the full moon in Virgo. Full moon in Virgo. The sun is still in Pisces as a result. And so, I'm really trying to hold it together, guys. I'm really trying to hold it together. The notification that came up was that the moon was going to be alongside Regulus. Regulus is a white and ultramarine star that sits within the constellation of Leo. It is called the heart of the lion. The sun, and so does Leo, always works within our heart, within the tree of life, but of course, as well as our physical form. In relationship to the tree of life, it is known as the sunspot. In our physical body, it is our heart. The majestic lion, the king of the beasts, is Leo's symbol. Throughout history, the majestic lion has symbolized sovereignty, rulership, and courage. The lion's size and strength have captured human imagination since the ancient times. In Egypt, the lion represented the ferocious heat of the sun and was seen in the likeness of the Sekhmet, who is the Egyptian goddess known as the Eye of Ra. She is the power that protects the good and annihilates the wicked. Excuse me. These gods and goddesses. Here, the symbolic meaning of lions revolved around protections, and they were viewed as guardians of the dead, as well as guardians of the palaces, the doorways, the shrines, and the thrones. They were also the ultimate protectors of hearth and home. It is mentioned in the Bible, the book of Revelations in 5:5. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Root of David, hath prevailed to open the book and to loose the 7 seals thereof. God in this universe, the way it works, the way it plays out, the way it tells a story, that brings truth along with it. And I can't find a word other than beautiful, other than magical right now. Brings me to tears, brings me Regulus is one of the famed royal stars of the Persians. And this title, The Lion's Heart, has been a popular one from early classical times, seen in the Cardia Leon. I don't know how to say this, and I am actually reading this off of someone's blog here, and I will give credit. Cardia Leontos of Greece, and the Cor Leonis of Rome, and adopted by the Arabians. It was considered as the leader of the 4 royal stars of the ancient Persian monarchy, the 4 guardians of heaven. It is said that the 4 stars marked the cardinal points along the Antares Aldebaran in the Fomalhaut. Regulus housed the Archangel Raphael, the Watcher of the North, and the Angel of Healing. In certain circles, Regulus is very important, regarded almost as a planet itself. It would be conceived to suppose Regulus exists only to influence humans living in this planet. The idea on the qualities of the star Regulus are undoubtedly only a minute piece of the infinite influence this great sun has on Earth and other fixed stars, just a note of his symphony on the music from the stars. Sirius is the star of Christ consciousness, and we associate the Christ with the heart center through the emanations of the star Regulus. As the heart of the lion, the lawgiver amplifies the lens. Then the regulator of the energy of the earth motivates a response in humanity to express this consciousness of the heart, the quality we all call love, as above and so below. In this blog is under Humanity Healing, and I don't see who actually wrote this blog. There's no name, and but it's under Humanity Healing. So I continue to find more information about Regula. So, let's see. I found a blog here about planets with a Regula, heart star of the lioness, by Kaylin Castell. And this was actually written in October of 2018. She says, whenever the moon or any planet is with Regula, it is a time for creating intentions and ceremonies, where currently we encounter the vital, vibrant, awakening priestess energy returning to our awareness, enlivening and celebrating the power of the heart, the power of love to restore our sacred relationship to the earth, to her seasons, and to our self. This is the time to consciously receive the incoming light codes being transmitted by the moon from this royal heart star, so we again remember the sacred mysteries encoded in the Hall of Records within our hearts and our DNA. She continues in saying, watch for signs in the world of form, synchronicities that align with your intent, letting you know your heart is aligned with these great mysteries unfolding in the great above and being implemented in the great below. After I began reading about this, my heart became cold. And it's still cold today. Very cold. So since I'm going to just estimate about 7 or 8 last night, as I began to make connections, I already had experienced that eruption kind of, whenever it was when I made that one video that I spoke about it when I felt it. Excuse me. So last night, it began to be cold. I received the Bible, the seal, the Word, and it's still cold this morning. She mentions here that since Regula moved into Virgo, now this is how it links up with this full moon, and for sure happened in the late November of 2011. Now this is from myself. No, it wasn't 2011. Okay, but November of 2018, I believe it was for myself, November 11th of 2018. But we can imagine when the moon, or any planet for that matter, is with Regula, it is informing our great below reality, and it is a powerful time to go out and look up and connect with the incoming light codes and messages applied by whatever planet is there. You might ask to receive a download from the Hall of Records carried within your hearts and your DNA that is symbolized by the heart of the lion in the sky. And then you should watch for the signs within the world, is what she is saying here. She is mentioning that this is linking up with the Mayan calendar. So the royal star Regula is a magical, marvelous star of wonder, inspiring us to know ourself through the power of self-love. One of the 4 royal stars of the ancients, Regula is the closest star to the elliptic witness within less than a half a degree, so is often occulted by the moon. The other 3 royal stars, for example, Antares, and I've already mentioned this in my other early on in this video, Antares, Fomalhaut, and Aldebaran are between 2 and 4.5 degrees below the ecliptic. Regula is a Bohemian star, or a magical star of the ancient alchemists who used a 6-degree orb to consider an enhanced planetary effect on the star. The sun within 6 degrees of Regula happens every year in August 16th to August the 29th. The priestess, the Sphinx Point, the lioness, the Virgin Priestess constellation, are related to the Sphinx Point, where animal, which means the lion, meets the human, which is the priestess. There was a time when the Sphinx Point was related to the shift of seasons between the constellations of the priestess and the lion, when the seasonal signs of Leo and Virgo were overlaying both constellations. In the 21st century, the seasonal sign of Virgo overlays the lion, and the seasonal sign of Libra overlays the Virgin Priestess. Over time, about 26,000 years, every season is with every constellation. Regula is in Virgo for 2160 years, or moving backwards through the constellations, 1 degree every 72 years, having entered Virgo in November of 2011. The shift of any planet or star from Leo to Virgo, or any 2 signs of that matter, marks a dramatic archetypal shift in energy. Around 1939, Regula entered the 29 Leo point, moving 1 degree in 72 years, prior to moving into the seasonal sign of Virgo in November of 2011. Regula remains at the 0 Virgo mark until about 2083, when it will enter the 1 degree Virgo point. Every year, the Sun, Mercury, and Venus cross the line between Leo and Virgo. Every month, the Moon crosses this line. Every 2 years, Mars crosses this line. Every 12 years or so, Jupiter crosses this line. And every 29.5 years or so, Saturn crosses this line. Now, let's see. Trying to get to the main The star magnitude and brightness of Regula is the 22nd brightest star in the night sky. Spica is the 16th, Aldebaran is the 14th, and Antares is the 15th. The Sphinx point is very significant in relationship to Regula. Robert Bouval, the author of the Orion Mysteries and many other books, suggests that based on his research, the Great Sphinx was constructed during the time when the Lion constellation was rising at the vernal equinox. Spring, for those in the northern hemisphere, around 10,500 BC. Regula, the heart of the Lion, was rising with the spring equinox for at least 72 years, in that window of time, and loosely for about 2160 years. Remember, the seasonal signs process move backward through the constellations, about 1 degree every 72 years, taking about 2160 years for any one star to experience 30 degrees of sign. The spring equinox with the Lion occurred from around 10,000 BC to 8800 BC. This means the seasonal sign linked to the Sphinx in the Lion constellation way back then was Aries, as Aries is the seasonal sign that defines the vernal equinox, which is March, in the northern hemisphere. Since that time, the seasonal sign overlaying most of the Lion has processed back to Virgo. The Lion constellation has associations with the sun dating back to when the sun would have been rising from the heart of the Lion. Which would light up the heart energy of the earth at the time of the vernal equinox. The autumn equinox point, or zero Libra point, opposite the vernal equinox has shifted to the Sphinx point between the constellation of Virgo, priestess in the Lion, the Virgin priestess in the Lion, When a planet passes Regula, including the sun or the moon, it serves to magnify and transmit the energy of this heart star to all life on Earth. Regula has the power to activate our heart, knowing that when we are willing to engage and embrace it. Additionally, this assists us in releasing and transforming whatever is buried in our subconscious when we are willing to explore this territory. With Regula now at the 0 point, the star is deeply connected to the sacred pattern of life, highlighting our role in restoring the essential pattern of love underlying all creation for all life benefits. First, the patterns of addiction, limiting or false beliefs, judgment, and anything else that interferes with fully living from the power of love will surface that seems so clearly evident in the greater collective reality these days. When the moon is with Regula, it informs our great below reality, and is a time for creating intentions and ceremonies where the vital, vibrant, awakening priestess awareness is enlivened as we remember the sacred mysteries encoded in the Hall of Records we each carry within our hearts and our DNA. And she has the time of when, or the dates here listed, of when the moon is going to be with Regula. February 26th and 27th of this year. Now, I know I read stuff there just to give you a little bit of information. Now I want to go deeper as best as I can here. So, and I said so. The Virgin, or Virgo, is the Virgin Mary. I made a post, and I think I ended up putting it under that description of my video of the full moon. I haven't double checked, so if not, I will go back and see. But if not, check me out on my social media pages or my podcast. I know that I have placed that information underneath it. In order for Mary to conceive a child, to birth the Holy One, the sacred life here of Christ consciousness, she had to become purified herself. Although there's not much mentioned in there other than her process in becoming the mother and such, in delivering a child. You have to think, if you know your own process here, she had to go through the same process of purification, going back to a pure form, being raised by the Holy Spirit and receiving that sacred seed, the permanent seed, Adam, which therefore she was able to birth into creation. So go back to my permanent seed Adam video and watch more about that. This takes place within the Thymus Gland and becomes a part of the diamond heart, which is also going to become a part of the threefold flame heart that I mentioned way back when. This becomes the Mother's Holy Spirit, or births into the Holy Mother Spirit via the Amaria flame. Which afterwards, this is again, the connection of our central pillar that unites us with the earth. And I'm changing all of this information here to be worded where we can better understand it. So this is the concept of mother and child being reunited, where I also mentioned in Revelations where that dragon was trying to eat the child. Within the seed that we are given within the heart, it awakens again more of our dormant DNA, our dormant cells, and awakens things. Everything becomes again affected. Our endocrine system, all of our hormones are becoming affected. The vagus nerve is going to become affected. Our lungs, our kidneys. You're going to probably feel that type of cleansing or coming online. But being that we have already this is the point of activating. If you are ready to receive this, you are activating it. If you are not ready to receive this because you still have the purification process, the cleansing, the letting go process of still taking place, this is where you're headed. This is where you're headed. Just because we are at a point here, whether astrologically lining up finally, linking up, because as above, so below. Some of us experience these experiences prior to what takes place, which is the ability to prophesize. You're able to see and foretell what's about to take place because you yourself are also experiencing it. You finally, when the planet or the planets, however things line up astrologically, that's when an integration can take place. Of course, parts of the energy associated with it you will receive according to, of course, where you're at. Don't beat yourself up. Don't become in denial about it just because you haven't fully received it all. You're receiving according to the level of where you are. So if you are by chance in your early processes, you could be right now finally tapping into the thymus gland. Finally opening up that. That's a major step in the process. Major. And you should be happy. You should feel grateful for that part of it. Love continuously opens the heart. The more that you embody love, the more that you receive according to that. I never realized how much love could be expanded on. I thought, of course, where I was a long time ago, I was like, wow, this is really love. This is awesome. I feel high as a kite because of this feeling. It gets bigger, better than that. And it never stops growing. Your faith will never stop growing either. This is how you become limitless. This is how you reach higher states of consciousness, because you are continuously growing and opening up to something more. So, as I mentioned, once we have developed this part of integration, because again, once we are ready for this permanent seed atom, the monad becomes more anchored in, begins another part of an activation within the sacred heart. Then the permanent seed atom can do its job there in providing with more information to awaken aspects of yourself. The Bible scroll being shown, of course, signifies the permanent seed atom. It signifies the word that exists within all of us, the seed, which of course is going to awaken more DNA, the God-like DNA. Yet it's still going to be a process. But it's being completed. And when you are still ready, when I am still ready, we'll become more grounded within the earth. That central pillar of light connects us to the Mother Earth, where we are reunited with the true Father and the true Mother of creation. And we begin integrating and helping this planet embody even more love and light. So I do recommend you going back and watching my previous videos about the permanent seed atom and about the 7 levels of initiations if you want to as well, and learn more about that. So I thought it was really interesting in how I made that connection, how it's making sense with what I'm experiencing, as well as what's taking place outside of us in this universe, above us. This is linking us up to not just the full 12 DNA activation, but allowing us to connect to the 12th dimension, or even above, depending on what you're working with, what your path is associated with, etc. So again, when it comes to you working with dimensions, I don't so much, or even the chakra system, I don't so much limit myself and think, okay, and have to know precisely at what dimension or what chakra I am at. I find it interesting to know, and I do that in a form of kind of like playing. Let's see how much I can learn. But then I leave it open to even going beyond. Because if you kind of, okay, just assume, oh yeah, I am right here at this, let's just say 8th dimension, and I am just loving it right here. You get too comfortable in that area, you can, I'm not saying it will happen, but you can limit yourself because you get too comfortable there. So try to leave that doorway open, regardless. Because again, if your heart is ready for more, if you are willing to go even further, you can. Last night, or early this morning, and I had a rough night. So I was up a lot, but I did experience in my vision, I saw my Merkaba was spinning. I was a little bit dizzy seeing it, but because my husband also woke up, so we both got out of bed early on, and I couldn't finish what I was actually doing and activating there, so I couldn't see where I was headed. But I wanted to let you guys know of that, that of course is going to be a part of what's taking place, is that your Merkaba is definitely being utilized. Like I said, my orb is continuously moving. I know that's part of my Merkaba working. And so I hope you find this information beneficial or interesting at best. And I'll do my best to remember to put the links of the websites that I got the information about the Regulus. And go back again, if you haven't watched my full moon in Virgo, read the description. Hopefully I have what I actually put on my social media accounts. If not, I do have the links to my social media accounts underneath the description. You can go check it out or read it on one of those social media pages and try to really make sense of how it is really connecting via my words previously, my videos previously, and what is actually taking place now astrologically. This is Christy. Much love, health, and healing your way. I am bringing purpose to your life. Take care.